Alright, so part 2 of the PDI install. Intercooler's pretty much done. I've just got the hot side to go, but like I said before, I'm waiting on a turbo and injectors from RPM diesel before I finish that. But we just started the transmission cooler installation, so I managed to squeeze that between the winch and the intercooler. One thing I've noticed is the bottom outlet out of the oil cooler is contacting this part of the winch. So I might be able to just bend that out the way. And then up here, I don't know if you can see in there, but this part of the intercooler is actually contacting this bracket. So I'll see if you can see in there. You won't be able to see it from the top, but yeah, that's contacting that bracket. So I don't know if I just space out this bolt, I'll get that clearance, but I really want that to sit further back to get that clearance down here. So anyway, I'll get these rib nuts in and go from there. Alright, I've been trying to get this bolt out for the last 2 hours. It's actually rib nutted in from the top. This one here. So it's rib nutted in from the top and it's just spinning. So tried to get the vice grips on it and I still can't get it out. And just have a look at the state of this one. So you can focus on that. You can just see even this one's just been completely stripped. When PJM put that in, so I'm gonna have to get the grinder out and just cut that head off. I think that's the only option. So anyway, we'll get this out and go from there. Alright, that's that bolt out. I'll just grind that nutsert out and push it up, but I've painted my chassis the other day and I didn't take this bash plate off, so I might give this a bit of a paint whilst I'm in here. Give it a bit of a wire brush and clean that up. 2 hours later, got it out finally. So just punched that out off the hole. So I'll paint that up and then get another nutset, put that back in. Alright, so I had to drill this hole out here to fit a rib nut in. I'm just going to quickly touch this up with a bit of touch-up paint. And then I'll let that dry and put this rib nut in. So there's 2 rib nuts to go in, one up here, one down here. You can see this one down here is in a bit of a tight spot. So I'm actually not going to use a rib nut tool. What I'm going to do is just use, I think it's an M6 bolt with 3 washers and then another nut threaded pretty much all the way on. Alright, so because of that rib nut down there is so hard to get to, I'm actually going to not use a rib nut tool. So what I've got is 2 10mm spanners, and then pretty much I want to tension this nut down the thread of the bolt without turning the bolt itself. And what that'll do is it'll expand the riv nut and secure that in place. The reason I'm doing it on this one is just because it's easy to access. I haven't done this in a while, so thought I'd do it this way on this one up here, and then when I get down to that one there, I'm not out of practice. Oh. You can sort of feel the riv nut collapsing in on itself. And you can see that's now pretty snug. Just give it a little bit more. But that's a little trick on how to riv nut if you don't have the tool. So just back that off, then you can unthread the bolt, and that riv nut's in place. So I think that's the only way I'll be able to get the riv nut in on this one down here. So obviously can't get the big tool in there, so yeah, we'll do the same down here. I'll just show you one more time. So M6 bolt, M6 nut threaded pretty much all the way, and 3 washers. That just helps stop the riv nut spinning when you're putting it on. But you tighten that so your thread's pretty much all the way out, and then put that in, and then you turn this nut, turn this nut here whilst holding the bolt, and that'll compress this section of the riv nut and secure that in place. So I'll give this a shot for this one down here and show you after. Alright, well that ended up being a much bigger day than I thought. So yeah, put a few washers behind here to space that out, because it was fouling on that intercooler on this piece here behind here. So that's now spaced out. I've got a tiny bit of clearance between my winch and the transmission cooler line. I'll keep an eye on that, make sure it's not rubbing. And then just bent the horn up, so it's now sitting forward off the new intercooler. I don't know how much you're going to be able to see underneath the car, but this is how I've plumbed it up. So driver's side is the out for the stock transmission cooler. So I've cut that, and then the bottom line on the new transmission cooler is the in. So it's going through the stock trans cooler in the radiator out here, then it goes in the bottom of the new transmission cooler, and then the top comes around and back into the transmission. So that's how I've got it all plumbed up. Obviously took a bit longer than I would have thought. Yeah, started at 8:30 or just before then, and yeah, it's now 5:30. Sun's about to go down. But anyway, intercooler's in, transmission cooler's in. The cold side of the intercooler's finished. The hot side I won't finish until I get the new turbo and manifold. I'll plumb all that up. I did want to have a crack at taking the injectors out and the manifold off, but I've ran out of daylight, so I'll have to do that another day. And eventually, when I do that turbo, I'm going to change this intake as well. So hopefully I can get that out in the one piece, and don't have any dramas, so that'll be next weekend. Anyway, alright, so that's the transmission cooler all fitted up. I just wanted to show you now that the lighting's a bit better how I've got it all plumbed up, but pretty easy job. 2 nut certs, just drop it in and install it. I'll show you how I've got it plumbed. So top hose is the outlet that goes back to the transmission. Bottom hose comes in through the stock transcooler into here, goes through the transcooler, and then obviously back to the transmission. Pretty easy installation. I did have to put a few washers back here just to pack that up because it was contacting on the intercooler. I've sent PDI an email just to ask him about that one. Got a tiny bit of clearance from the winch. It's just enough for me not to want to worry about it. I'll just jump under the car and show you how it's plumbed up on this side. So driver's side out the stock cooler. This hose then runs back to the underside of the new transmission cooler, and then this hose then goes back into the transmission, recirculating and all. So pretty easy. Just had to cut the stock lines and tap them in. That's all provided by PDI. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward job. Didn't have any issues. And then you would have seen in an earlier video, this bar was all rusty, so I just wire wheeled it, put a bit of rust converter on it, and then painted it with zinc black. So that's come up nice, looks good. Hopefully that stops that from rusting. Anyway, that's the end of the transmission cooler installation. I'll get cracking on getting this manifold off, ready for the new turbo. Hopefully these injectors just pop straight out and we should be on. Alright, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Cheers.